Why do guys cheat even if they love you? Well, the easy answer is, hey, it's in their DNA, they can't help it, they were programmed that way, the evolution is to blame. Or, they were built this way, with this natural instinct to always look to procreate, so, it's only right for them to want to sleep with as many women as possible. And spread their seeds around. But the reality is, we're no longer living in a time where it would be acceptable to behave in such a manner. Even though we live in a different time, unfortunately, men's natural instinct remain the same, and these old habits tend to die hard. Now, as for the women, they don't seem to have it as bad as men do when it comes to staying faithful. Women are hardwired differently, and they don't have the same ability to go and spread around their seeds like men can. And because of this, and because women only have one shot at reproducing each month, therefore, they tend to be more cautious with whom they choose to copulate with. Okay, having said all that, there's no excuse nowadays for any man to be cheating on his spouse or girlfriend, none whatsoever. But, I'll give you a few reasons why they still do though. And without further ado, let's get to it. Reason number 1, lack of respect and trust. If a man cheats on the person that he is with, it's because he no longer respects or trusts her, plain and simple. It's almost impossible for him to cheat on her, if he respects, trusts, or even loves her. But on the other hand, it's a lot easier to do so, if he no longer holds her in high regard. Trust and respect are the glue that hold the relationship together. Without both of these things, you have nothing, it's basically over. It's just a matter of time before everyone goes their separate ways. Okay, now that we've seen why respect and trust are so important to a relationship, let's dive right into reason number 2, and see what else can cause a man to cheat. Reason number 2, lack of commitment. Some men are just not willing to commit to one woman, and there are a bunch of reasons why that's the case. Some men aren't done sowing their wild oats just yet, and feel that there's still more field left to be played. They like having options, and being with just one woman will never be enough. And they also like keeping things fresh and interesting by dating a variety of women. And then, there are others who simply like to chase and conquer. They get so much thrill out of it, it's very hard for them to stop. But in the end, they're never really satisfied. It's basically a vicious cycle that's extremely hard for them to break. Unless of course, they're willing to put in the time to work on themselves, and become better human beings, instead of sex objects. But I digress, let's take a look at reason number 3, which is all about not being sexually satisfied while in a relationship, and the frustration it causes. Now, as you know, human beings have needs, and sexual need is one of them, and it can be extremely important, especially to a man. And if all of a sudden, this need is neglected, it has a potential of causing a huge rift in a relationship. And if his sexual needs remain unfulfilled, it's just a matter of time before he starts looking elsewhere. And if someone comes along, and she's able to fill that void, no matter how much he might love his wife or girlfriend, it's going to be very hard for him to turn that down. So in a case like this, one might understand why a man may resort to cheating, but I would still not condone it. Instead, one should communicate their needs to their partner. That should always be the first option. Now, not being sexually satisfied could be the one problem that is preventable, if only more couples agree to talk to each other more often about their particular need. I think we could probably all agree on that. Amen. That being said, let's get to reason number 4, shall we? Sometimes a man may cheat when it starts to become clear to him that the relationship has run its course, that it's essentially over. And he has already made up his mind that it's time to move on. But moving on may not be as easy as just picking up and leave. Kids may be involved, and that could be something that is extremely hard to deal with. But the best thing to do in this situation is not to postpone the inevitable. Instead, try leaving while both parties involved are still on good terms, because what should be important right now is the well-being of the children. And finally, let's get to reason number 5, and the final reason for why men tend to cheat on their women even though they may still love them. And that is, lack of maturity. That's right. Not all men are created equal. In fact, some men are not men at all, in the true sense of the word. Because in order for a man to be a man, he would have to be mature enough to take responsibility for his own actions. And some aren't willing to do that. And men who cheat on their partners usually don't blame themselves for their actions, but instead blame others. They tend to always try to find ways to justify their actions, when in fact they should just be men, and own up to their mistakes, because that's what real men do. A real man, first off, would never cheat on his woman, because he values her too much as to disrespect her by sleeping with a woman that is not his girlfriend or wife. Because if he were to do such a thing, he would not only be disrespecting his significant other, but himself as well. And a mature man would never do that to himself. He possesses too much pride, self-discipline, and honor to resort to infidelity. That to him would be a great sign of weakness. And a true mature man rarely shows any sign of weakness. Cheers. So there you have it, now you know why guys cheat even if they love you. I hope I was able to answer your question on, why do guys cheat even if they love you? And understanding this is half the battle. Now you have enough information to help yourself make better relationship decisions. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Thank you.